The reason that Rachel is here is because today the great and powerful Chelsea B is sharing our leadership moment, and Rachel is Chelsea's coach, and she wanted to come to lend her support. So we really appreciate that. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your busy schedule. And Chelsea, when you are prepared, the floor is yours.
All right, I'll share my screen then.
Awesome.
So guys, today we're gonna do a short intro to mind mapping, which is another form of brainstorming. We know some of us go ahead and we write lists, you know, top to the bottom, bullet points, random scribbles on the side. Well, here's another way that helps us get our thoughts organized and see how everything is connected and maybe not connected in ways that we might not have thought until we put it on paper.
Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Shang. I work with startups on strategy and operations. Today, I want to share with you one of my top tools for organizing my thoughts and making sense of the world. It's called mind maps. In this video, you're going to learn what a mind map is, why is it so useful, how I use them, and what's the best way to get started. All right, let's dive in. So what is a mind map? A mind map looks like this. It's essentially a single main topic with related subtopics that radiate outwards, and those child nodes can then also branch out into further detail depending on how far you go down. It's such a great way to just get all your thoughts down, but in an organized way, so you don't have information overload, can spot your blind spots, and make better decisions. So why are they so useful? The reason is because the world is a really messy place. So your information that you get, on a daily basis is going to be just as messy. And rather than getting information overload, mind maps allow you to just dump all that information in a spatial way and then organize them and prioritize them however you want to. This is really important because let's say you're in a meeting and either as a student or as a professional, and this conversation is going to flow, right? It's going to be really, really dynamic, and you're probably taking notes. And you feel like most people, you're probably taking notes in a top-down bullet point style. The issue with this is that, a conversation is really, really dynamic. It's going to jump from one topic to the next without rhyme and reason sometimes, even if there is a clear agenda. So this means that, a couple of things can happen. First, if a conversation moves, on from what you've already covered in your notes, you might actually forget what you had written previously on, the previous topic. And number two, if something is mentioned, during the conversation about a topic that was previously covered, if your attention is solely focused on the present, you might actually be missing that connection. And that's because, number three, you're probably really passive while listening to this meeting or just taking down notes because you're essentially a human copy machine. With mind maps, it's like drawing. You're taking all the information that you're listening to, planning, or learning, and then just dumping it onto a piece of paper or iPad. And you don't have to worry about information overload as long as you're diligent about categorizing the main sections. And then you can go down to each of those sections as deep as you want without really losing the interconnectedness nature of the entire system or the entire picture. All right, examples time, how I use them. Here's my daily to-do list, right? You probably notice that I've got it separated out into the major categories first, which are really, actionable to-dos. At this point, I just want to understand kind of the overall scheme of the major categories I have to cover for that day. And then from there, I will radiate out the individual tasks and then cross them out like a to-do list. Here's the mind map that I made to plan out this video. You'll notice that there's 5 sections and each of them will radiate out with their own different contents. This is a flow mind map that I made for a simple travel app that I designed for a friend. And you'll notice that this is a user flow map that takes you from the user onboarding component to going through various different actions in the app. The next one is a mind flow map of a slightly more complicated product. But the concept is actually the same, which is it's just detailing a user journey from onboarding and then all the different actions he can take as he goes through the product. And this is a diagram I typically make before I even start designing to understand what is it that I actually have to design. Each individual screen is correspondent to a child node or an action, for example. And this is what I share with my team on the engineering side for them to understand what is it that what we want to achieve at the end of the day. Again, this demonstrates that with a good mind map, you're able to keep track of the overall big picture while still going really deep into the minutia or the individual details, because sometimes that's actually how far you have to go. But at the same time, you don't want to lose track of the overall picture or the overall objective of what you're working on. So this is really, really important. And this last example is something that is ongoing given the COVID-19 crisis. So I've been trying to map out the nature of the virus, the historical precedents of pandemics, what generally happens during a pandemic, how it's going to impact the first order impacts on people, and then the second order economic impacts, as well as how small businesses can actually react to this or prepare. So maybe in the future video, I can share some of the insights or actionable stuff that I got out of it. There you have it, folks. Thanks a lot for watching. I hope you found that useful. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you want to see more on mind maps and how
You're on mute, Chelsea.
I thought I clicked the button. It didn't go. And I hope that short video was really helpful. I watched a lot of different videos to figure out which one would be the best and most relevant one for everyone to understand in a short period of time. And now I guess I'll stop sharing my screen and take any questions.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Chelsea. If you want to raise your hand and ask a question in regards to mind mapping, I have one for you, Chelsea. How have you found mind mapping to be helpful for you in your experience as a Year Up participant?
Well, I find that I'd make short lists of immediate tasks, but when we're like learning a new concept or something, I try like individual concepts. Sometimes I don't get it. So I always try to draw a mind map and draw back to the way that it might be connected to something else we learned. So that way, if we're learning about one subject, but we're doing all these different lessons that might not seem connected to it, I can see how it all fits together and how I might use it when I go to internship.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Anybody else want to raise their hand, ask Chelsea a question on mind mapping and how she does it? And do you do it for your like work life and your personal life, Chelsea? You do it for both?
I don't really do it for my personal life since I really don't ever have much going on that I can't keep track of. But definitely for like my work life and for school and things like that.
Cool. It looks like Majida has a hand.
Hey, so like I actually have been I've known mind mapping for a while, and like I know a lot like online people who like have like I'm not sure what they're called, but like they can remember like numbers so fast. I'm not sure what like the thing is called. Like they go to a place and like they remember cards and like it's a whole tournament and whatnot, and they actually use mind mapping, and it's like one of the most effective techniques. And I've actually previously almost asked like a lot of people if they know anything about it and how to implement it now into our daily lives. It's kind of difficult to like find it. For me personally, I find it difficult to do it, but I really want to do it. So it was kind of nice seeing like how you know about it and how you actually wanted to like brought up like a video and enlighten other people as well.
Thank you.
Awesome feedback, Majida. Andre?
So I know there was like different forms and methods of mind mapping. And I was wondering if like the format of mind mapping would change to like some sort of form of hybrid based on if the circumstances that you're applying it to like changes over time.
Well, you can always branch off when you do mind maps. So if circumstances change, you just add another branch to your mind map and how it connected to when the situation was at its previous state. So that way you can actually keep better track of how it changed or when it changed. So it depends. Like a lot of people do mind mapping on, they have software for the, I forgot the name of it. I've looked it up too. Some people do it on whiteboard. Some people just sketch small ones in their notebook. It really just depends on how well you try to think of it, everything as being connected. Even if things change, everything is connected.
Awesome answer, Chelsea. Thank you so much for sharing. Really do encourage all of you to continue to explore mind mapping as a tool and a resource to help you in your career. So let's go ahead and give Chelsea a digital clap. We appreciate you kicking off our class this morning, helping us take a little bit of a breather from the technical world of Excel. And you definitely can use mind mapping in Excel for sure. It works that way as in the same way. So thanks, Chelsea. And thank you, Rachel, for swinging by class. It was good seeing you.
Job, that was so good.
I love it. And all right, so today we have a treat for you. So as you know, the great and amazing Amna and Majida are this week's Excel mavens. And Majida has decided that she wants to actually teach today's lesson, which I thought, this is amazing. So she's probably will do better than I would. So she's going to take it away and she's going to talk about if and VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. And just like yesterday, we'll do some practicing as well. But I proposed, would you be interested in doing this? And she said she would. So Majida / instructor Majida, the floor is yours.
Thank you, guys. I can't guarantee I'll do a better job than Eric. I'm gonna try my best not to overwhelm you guys today with the amount of functions we have, but I'll get started. And along the process, please let me know in the comment sections if I'm losing you. Like I really want to make it as simple as possible today for you guys to like actually understand this, because before I get started, like personally, when I first did this in high school, like for some of like one of the functions, it was very difficult for me to like understand this, and like even like a whole week's worth of research still didn't help. So like now I want to try to make it the best, as like simple as possible for you guys to get it. So let me know. So today we'll be talking about 3 main functions in Excel: the if function, VLOOKUP, and HLOOKUP. So for today's agenda, as we talk about the if, VLOOKUP, and HLOOKUP function, we're going to be talking about exactly what are they, how are they used, and then of course practice, because practice makes perfect. And I must say before I continue, if I ramble on too much, just hang in there with me. I have some Excel sheets with me too, so like I'll walk you guys through it and like have you guys practice. So starting off with the first function is the if function. Exactly what is it? It's simply used for comparison. So for example, if you have 2 prices and you want to say that if one price is greater than this price, then it will be either within budget or over budget. That's just an example. We'll get into practice. And you could also use it with words, but today we'll be using it with numbers most likely. So example. So before I continue on with VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP, I don't want to overwhelm you guys. So I'll go on with the if function. So it doesn't like, it's not too much information to retain at once. So I'll show you guys an example. for the if lookup. You guys can see my my Excel sheet, right? Or no?
You might have to do a new share Majida and then share your, do that for security. So all we see right now is the PowerPoint.
What about now?
Still loading. There it is.
Okay. Okay. So this is just an example that I created over just as a sample. So let's say over the past weekend, you and your friends really wanted to go on a trip. After going to Fury 325 in North Carolina, you now have to gather up the total expenses. Prior to leaving, you created a budget, and upon arriving, you have created an actual column to figure out if you have overspent during the trip or had any savings over the trip. And in order to find out, you'll be using the if function. So first, and guys, remember, every single time you put any type of function, always remember to put your equal sign. Because if you don't put in your equal sign, a function won't go through in Excel at all whatsoever. So let's start by if. We simply press in if and then parentheses. And as you can see, even Excel itself, it gives you a format of what the function may be. So we'll first take our B2 because this is our budgeted and versus actual. So we want to see if we went over budget or if it was within budget. So we'll select B2 and then we'll do greater than budgeted greater than actual. So if our budgeted budget $180 is greater than $150, then that means we went over budget. So we'll do comma because our logical test, which is the greater than sign, we'll do comma. And then if it, now Excel is asking, what if this is true? What if $180 is greater than $150? So we'll do if it is true, sorry, 1 second. So if it is true, then that means we have gone over budget. Wait, let me just correct that. 180. Okay, so if it is true, then it would be over budget. So, and then you have to put in quotations because you're using text. And then if it is false, then we'll say within budget. Close quotations. You know, it's not necessary that you close the parentheses because if you press and enter, Excel will automatically do it for you. So we went, oh, sorry, I had my typing wrong. So if it is true, then it's within budget. And if it is false, then it is over budget. I'll just quickly change that. Okay. So instead of having to go through all of this all over again and again for all of these rows, you simply go here and wait for this black cross to come and you double click and it automatically makes the formula go through all of it. For example, right over here, as you can see, our budgeted, what we had anticipated to spend on our food, it was $180. And the actual ended up being $150. So we actually were within budget and we actually saved $30. While for our gas, we anticipated it would be $150, but ended up being $175. So it automatically goes and tells you you went over budget. Are there any questions as of the moment? I think I may have lost you guys somewhere.
It looks like Ashley Ross has her hand up, Majida. Ashley, go ahead.
Thank you for that explanation, Majida. That was awesome.
Thank you.
My question is, when you're putting in the words within budget and over budget, do you always put the true statement first and then the false statement?
Yeah, because that's the format of Excel. So if you were to do, so like, for example, just right now, I actually switched them. So I said over budget in the true statement. So if it were to, because it was true, it told me over budget, but in reality, it was within budget. So you always have to do true statement first and then false statement.
All right, thank you, Majda.
And Hannah had her hand up too, or did Majida answer your question, Hannah?
Yeah, Ashley asked the question I was getting ready to ask.
Cool. All right,
So
great.
are we all on the same page right now? Like, you guys feel like you guys could do this?
There's actually one more hand, Majida, Karina. Go ahead,
Just
Karina.
a kind of refresh question. I saw you did the plus sign. Did you drag down to add the equation on all of them, or did you do something else? I didn't get to see that last part.
I just double click.
Oh.
So I'll choose Z. Once you just hover over it and you double click, that's it.
Okay.
And it'll automatically apply all the way down.
Yeah, that's a really good trick to know, because if you have, suppose this is only 4 lines of data, what if you had 4,000 lines? It'd be really annoying to drag all the way down. Double click and it populates all of them. So I'm glad you showed that.
We'll be getting into larger data, Eric. So,
Awesome.
that double click will definitely be getting helpful.
Perfect. And one last question, Majida, Tiana.
I'm a little lost. I'm kind of like slow getting to know this. Can you just do like another, like do another example over again, just to make sure I understand?
Yeah. So I have one right down here. I'm not sure, Eric, I'm not sure how can I have other people try doing this?
Yeah, that's totally fine. Is there a person who wants to raise their hand and demo it? And Majida, what you can do is, like, at the top of your screen where it says like you're sharing a screen, you just click on the person's name. It's like give them control of the mouse. Is there a person who's feeling particularly brave and wants to give it a go? Hannah Holmes, I see that hand. All right, Majida, so go ahead on your screen, click give access to Hannah, and then she can go ahead and play with it.
Okay, you have control over it now. So everything is perfect. The only problem is that you're missing a comma in one place. Do you know where it might be? There you go. Good job. Thank you. That was amazing. And then I liked how you were able to backtrack and realize that it wasn't B35 or C35. It was actually B36. So good job. I would do like the double click and make it go down, but instead I'll have somebody else if somebody else wants to come and practice it. And Tiana, I hope that was able to clear your misunderstanding. And if you still want me to explain it again, I could do that for you.
And also, Tiana, just so you're aware, we are going to have a breakout time where Amna will be sharing with a small group who wants some extra support after Majida gives her presentation. So there will be extra time for practicing as well. Mohammed, you had your hand up. Do you want to go ahead and show how to do that? And Majida will give you control of the the mouse.
Okay.
I've given the control to Mohammed.
Thanks for being patient with me, by the way. I was just like,
don't worry. I just didn't want you to get overwhelmed or anything. Like, don't feel overwhelmed.
the putting the order of under budget and over budget.
No
Thanks.
worries. Like, I feel the pressure too when I'm here and I'm typing and I have like 30 people staring that, but like no worry at all. Okay, Mohammed, I see you. I see you with the double click. Okay. Any questions? Does anybody do you feel like your guys are like anywhere or anything?
I see Ashley Ross's hand is up, Majida.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Ashley.
For this one, you have approve instead of budget. So when we're writing it, would we put approved and it would still read it as if then?
The thing is, you need to understand this is just an example. So like depending on your situation, for example, if you're like working into a company or doing something, it doesn't just go within, oh, this is over budget or something. This could be used for so many more things. Like, hey, if I can't think of an example right on top of my head, but like, for example, like if you're doing like a true or false question and it's like, Eric, can you like think of an example? Because I really can't think of any. Like that was just approved or under budget.
I mean, yeah, no, it's totally fine. The way that I've been doing it is the same as Majida. So if you don't mind, Majida, I'm just gonna stop sharing your screen, share my screen quick.
Okay.
Portion of my screen. You guys don't want to see that. Are you able to see my screen there, Majida?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So very similar to what Majida is doing here. So the budget and the actual, that's the way that you can do it for the if function. So imagine if like you went on the trip with your friends to the park, like Majida shared, or you went on a work trip. And suppose you have many lines of data. This is a very quick way, as opposed to going down to like, oh gosh, I spent too much on entertainment. I spent too much at my hotel. Like this is a very easy formula to go through and see the function. I think the most common use of the if function is just this, what Majida is demoing for us, what I'm demoing as well. But it's a good question, Ashley. Can you think of any time you might use it beyond going over or under budget? And you can also share your screen again, Majida.
Okay.
No, you can't think. Yeah, I mean, not on top of my head. I'm sure there's other ways.
Hey, Eric, it's Hannah. So like, because I was wondering what Ashley was wondering as well. So it's like you can use any words for these if situations, like true, false, approved, unapproved, like
it's
right and wrong.
Yeah, it's whatever you put. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like this it's not like limited to only these things. These are just for example and your guys' practice so you can like have a better handle at it. But like the imagination is limitless and like it goes to your own personal needs. So if it's like you're personally doing this and you're like, I have like a specific, you could make it specifically to yourself. So it's not just this. So it's limitless. You could also do numbers, but we're only doing it with words as of for the moment. So I feel like if it has had enough attention. So now we'll move on to the harder ones, VLOOKUP and HLOOKUP. So exactly what is VLOOKUP? So the function of a VLOOKUP is to look for a value in the form of text or numbers in a column. Bear with me, guys. We'll get through this. So it could be used for two places. It's for looking for values from a very big set of data, and also for approximate match. We'll be doing practices so you guys, and I'll be demonstrating it so you guys are not completely lost. And prior to me actually going on Excel and doing this, I have an example that we might be able to, you guys might be able to resonate with and actually like get a better understanding before I like completely dive into Excel. So I'm going to be using Starbucks as an example. We actually do what the function for VLOOKUP is. We actually do it on a daily basis without us actually realizing it. For example, if you're at Starbucks, the line is so big, like you're like, you know what, like, let me actually decide, do I have enough money? You're on a budget. So you're like, do I have enough money to buy what I need? So you first you decide what you want. And then in this example, we'll take Cafe Mocha as an example. Okay, so first you go to the column where all of the names of the drinks are, and then you scan down until you find Cafe Mocha. You're like, okay, that's where that is. And then assuming what size you want, you automatically go to the third, you go across to the third column and you look for the price range that best matches your need or the size that best matches your need. And in this case, we'll be using Grande as an example. It'll be $3.95. So that's what VLOOKUP does in simple. That's what we do on a regular basis, but instead this is for Excel and for bigger data. So breaking down VLOOKUP function. So what makes it up? So in Excel, if you're to put equal sign and VLOOKUP, these are all like these big words that come up. You're like, what is that? I don't know what any of that means. I've been there. So a simpler definition is VLOOKUP, what? What is it that you are defining or you're finding? And then you need to tell VLOOKUP where to look for it. And then from there, you also need to select the output value of where will that output come from. I'll get more into detail in the following slides. And then the closest match is, do you want your output to be exact, or can it be maybe altered, like to an approximate match? So in this case, going back to what we were referring to first, the Cafe Mocha, we can add text between okay, before I go there. So what I'll be showing you guys later on is this table right over here, as you can see over here. So question, what is the price of a Cafe Mocha size Grande? Cafe Mocha, we have it right over here. And then here we simply put the equal sign. And guys, do not forget the equal sign. So many people forget it and it never goes through and they're wondering what are they doing wrong. And then you proceed with your VLOOKUP. And then the first lookup value is the what? What are we looking for? We're looking for Cafe Mocha. And then we can add the text between quotations. For example, you see A14 right there. We could actually put quotations and put Cafe Mocha. However, that would be difficult to actually have your drag down your formula for other cells if you have multiple drinks or multiple things. If you were to double click it, then that would give you a problem with what you're looking for. Just a heads up. And then moving on to where. We now need to tell the VLOOKUP function where to look for Cafe Mocha because it doesn't know where is it actually located. In this step, you must also select the column that will return the value. You'll see it in a second. I'll show up a picture will show up. For example, not only will we select the first column, we will also select the pricing column to have the function return our lookup value. So in simple, VLOOKUP will now look for A2 to D10 to look for Cafe Mocha, and once it finds that, it will then look to the right to find the proper pricing. I know, guys, I'm losing you because there's so many words. I'll show you a picture to better understand. So this is the entire table that I have shown you before. So A14 is right here, which is, if you see right here, A and then 14, that's what we have selected for what. And now we're telling VLOOKUP to go right over here. In this column, it needs to look for Cafe Mocha. Once it finds Cafe Mocha, you need to further tell it to look for the size, to look for the price that best fits your needs. And then the column number is which column in the table array we want to return as a result. So example, our main question is what is the price of a cafe mocha size grande? And if you see column C is the one that says grande. So we need to hear, so if you see right over here after a comma, you put the number 3 because you want the size from column 3 to be in there. I hope I didn't lose you guys completely. And in Excel, the columns are always counted from left to right. I'm not sure if you could see, but this green thing, so this entire table is selected for the table array. And then over here, we're specifying our output value will come from this column over here. In this instant, we will put 3 for the price for a grande. So coming on to the last thing right over here, the range lookup, where I might have, okay. So specify whether the VLOOKUP should find an exact match or the closest match to the lookup value. For example, the words that cafe mocha has, it has cafe in there. If you were to make it false, it gives you an exact match. So for example, if it were when you instruct it to come to the left column A and you tell it to look for cafe mocha, and if it is unable to, it might end up giving you cafe americano. And that's not what you want, and you don't want the output value to be wrong. So you could always put it as true or false in order for you to get an exact match, which is cafe mocha only. And if it does not, so because we want to find the exact match with cafe mocha, we will put false, which means for an exact match, it will not be, if the exact match is not found, it will show as an error. I know I'm jumping to another lookup, but it's very similar to VLOOKUP, so I don't want to spend more time just on this after practicing. So HLOOKUP is simply VLOOKUP, but for horizontal. I'll show you an example. You guys see this table right over here? You guys can see my screen, right?
We see it.
Okay. So you see these tables right over here. Sometimes people input their tables as either horizontally, and that's where we would use the HLOOKUP for horizontal lookup, because it will then be measuring by rows, not columns. For VLOOKUP, it's vertical, so it's going vertically. So the table has the same information, but it will be measuring through columns. So we'll be mainly working with VLOOKUP today, because in most case scenarios, they're mostly a lot of vertical tables, so we'll be working with this. So I'll be going through a run through of what I have just shown you guys to have you guys give you a better understanding of what it is. So equal sign, always important. VLOOKUP, tap, and then we're looking for cafe mocha, so we simply click on cafe mocha, comma, because now you're starting to tell VLOOKUP to go into this table over here. So we select our column A, and then because we also need our output value to come within this, before another comma comes up, we need it to be from this value. We are going to select the entire table. And then comma, now we're going to tell VLOOKUP to go into column 3. 1, 2, 3. Column 3 is where the price point needs to match cafe mocha. So I'll simply put 3. And then for an approximate match, which that may give you cafe americano or cafe latte, and that's not what we want. So we'll go with false because we want an exact match. And then press enter. You already have your price right there. Okay, bring in all the confusion, everything. Tell me, I may have lost you guys somewhere along the way.
Awesome job, Majid. It looks like the first hand we have is Pablo, and then Rahul. Pablo, the floor is yours.
When you go, sorry, when you go back to the formula, where did you get the 3 from again after D10 and before false?
Okay, so this 3.
Yeah.
So you know how we're looking for a price, and in our second over here, like before the second comma, before we do that, we need to find. We also need to give the location for our output as well. So 3 is simply column number 3. If you look at A is 1, B is 2, and C is 3, column 3. So we're telling C, oh. So we're simply telling VLOOKUP to go into column 3 and go on to Cafe Mocha and come right down here. Because if you don't specify if you're doing 3 or not, it won't give you a value. For example, if we get rid of it, it may not work. It's asking for a value because it doesn't know what price point to choose from all of these. Does that make sense or no?
Yeah, it's because I didn't see the C, so I got confused. That's why. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really important question, Pablo. And that's one of the things that, to be transparent, like confused me about VLOOKUPs, because it's not intuitive, right? Like what column am I going into? Like, I don't know. We're going into the 3rd column because column A is 1, column B is 2, column C is 3. If you want venti, you would put 4 there. If you want tall, you would put 2 there. So make sure that you know what column you're asking for. And you're asking for, in a scenario, a grande cafe mocha. How much is that? That's why you put that number 3 there. Great question, Pablo. Yeah, that's one of the tricky things about VLOOKUP, but it's important to remember that. Rahul?
Hey, Majida. It's honestly been a very informative slide, so thank you so much. But I got a question. If you could go back to the VLOOKUP Excel sheet. I don't know if this was the same one.
Oh, you mean the PowerPoint?
Oh, yeah. So actually the Excel sheet, sorry. So in the VLOOKUP, I remember for table array, there were dollar signs in front of the numbers and letters, and I was a little confused with that. What did the
Oh,
dollars?
that one. Okay, that makes sense. Got it. So I'll show you right now, because I know this is like overwhelming information, but we'll be using this as an example for bigger data and
Okay.
for things that aren't like price, like not just for Starbucks, like maybe like if you were to go into a real company, like this might be something. And the dollar signs are, if you go on your keyboard right now and you see the FN, and if you were, I'm not sure if it's like a Windows or a Mac, and if you click on it, the light goes on, right? And for example, let's do it here right now. I select it, I press FN, and then I look for F4 on here is my increase volume. So I simply press, F4, which is my mute volume. I press that and it gives me the dollar signs. The purpose of those dollar signs is because if you have very large amount of data, for example, right over here, you want VLOOKUP to know that this table has to stay consistent. This is the table that VLOOKUP will be using for the entire amount of information. For all these 700 and some rows, VLOOKUP has to use this and this table, and that's gonna stay consistent.
Understood. Thank you.
Thanks, Majid. Looks like one last question from Samaje.
This might be a dumb question, but how did you get a 14 again? I was writing in my notes and it's like, okay, I forgot that because I was looking at everything else.
How did I get 814? Okay. So 814 is right over here. That's like the what for the function lookup value. So what is VLOOKUP looking for? From this data, my purpose from this data is to look for a cafe mocha from here. And I want to know the price for it. But before it jumps to the price, it needs to first look for what it needs to look for. Like, for example, it could be like looking for a cafe latte and giving me a price point for $4.55 that goes for white chocolate mocha, and I don't want that. So I simply click on this row over here and it gives me a 14. Another thing you could do for this is do quotations, like actually put in cafe mocha and close it. But the problem with this is, and completely get rid of this and it'll still work. But the problem with that is if I were to actually try like double click right over here, it would, I have nothing below it, but if I were to double click, the formula wouldn't go on to the next row because it specifies cafe mocha only. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. Thank you.
Yeah, Majida, if you don't mind, can you go back to that cell, change it to A14? And then it already is. Okay, great. And then demo that, like now drag that down to the drip coffee, cafe Americano, cafe latte, so everyone can see how it populates. You see it's NA because there's nothing there on A15, A16.
Okay, yeah. So NA, going back to what Raul was saying, because it's NA because it's not consistent. Like I did not tell VLOOKUP that my table over here is going to stay consistent. So if I press Fn and F4, now it's going to stay consistent. Now, hopefully if I drag it, it works for all of them. Oh, so like NA because it's like there's nothing here.
Yeah, there's no data there in A15, A16. But you see how like drip coffee, cafe Americano, not all of them are populated. So what Majida did, if she just typed cafe mocha in what she was looking for, this would not work, right? But since she put A14 and she's able to drag it down, it automatically populates A17, A18, A19. And that's what, yeah.
You can continue.
Oh, that was all I was gonna say. We have some more questions.
While you're taking the next person, I'll just demonstrate if I were to put in quotations, just the letter itself, what it would do.
Gotcha. All right, yeah, go ahead and share that. We'll take a look. So now you see she's just putting cafe mocha because that's what she wants to know, how much it cost. She's putting in her table array. Where is she looking? Number 3. Let's see now. What do we miss here? All right, well, as you do that, Majida, we got the first question is from Ashley Ross.
Is this case sensitive for like for example, if you put cafe mocha without the capital C and M, would it still come up?
I don't know. Do you know, Majida? I think it would. I'm not positive.
I would believe it would because let me just get rid of it.
But would only do that if you put true at the end because then it's a relative. I don't know.
I remember last night when I was doing this, I heard case sensitive, but I believe it would only because there's repetitive cafes. So if you were so like I believe it would.
Yeah, I'm not totally sure. By the way, Ashley, were you able to look yet to see if you can put, as opposed to the column, can you put the actual number of the column, or is that I mean the letter rather, or does that not work?
I'm actually having the same problem David had yesterday with my Microsoft Office products.
Gotcha. Okay. Thanks for letting me know.
I'm not too sure on whether it'll be case sensitive. I'll do some research and get back to you actually on that.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. Looks like we have Ashley Gavin was next.
Yeah, sorry. Okay, I was trying to take notes and pay attention at the same time, and I might have missed it. But with the true and false, how do you know like what to put? Like, what's the purpose of that after like the number, like the grande thing?
Okay, so for true and false, the simple thing, as simple as possible. So because it's false right now, is if VLOOKUP goes through all of this whole entire table, let's just actually let me control D that. I'll press enter and cafe mocha. Let's make some changes to this. Cafe, just cafe. Now, do you see it changed? The reason why I put false, which if you do false right over here, it means, so if I press false, it means that I want an exact match. And if it's not an exact match, like cafe mocha, if it's not within that table, then I don't want it, which is why it chose an A. And if I were to put true to give me an approximate match, it gave me the price for $3.75 for a caramel macchiato. So it's not what I'm not looking for caramel macchiato, but it gave me the price for a tall caramel macchiato because I told it true. True meaning that if there's an approximate, so like whatever is closest to a cafe, you could give me the price or the price point for that. But when I'm on,
Majida, sorry to interrupt you. I'm sorry. Just to piggyback, I think it gave you Cafe Latte Grande because that was the first thing it saw, right? With cafe in it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, because true is confusing, but true actually means like give me the closest thing to it, right? So for example, suppose this was like donors and it was Jennifer, and then you put only people named Jennifer, how much did they give? But then you put true, it'll pop up the gens as well, right? So because it was true, it was like give me the you know, what's the term I'm looking for, Maji, to help me out here? Give me the like the closest thing you can find, right? False is give me exactly this. Give me cafe mocha only.
So so like it would give you like whatever so on the left column, what it did was like the first thing that had cafe in it, it just gave me the price for that. And which was cafe latte, which was on this one. And then
approximate match.
Yeah, and then because I specified the column 3 for it, that's the only reason why it gave me a grande. If I did column 2 for it, it would have given me $2.95 instead. Does that make sense? And thank you, Eric, for clarifying that.
Yeah. This the VLOOKUP, that last little bit is confusing, but most of the time that you'll be using false because you're going to want the exact thing you're looking for, not the you know, closest thing. So yeah, good question, Ashley Gavin. Let's take Hannah's question and then we're going to go on. Do you have one more thing to demo for us, Majida?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So
I have an approximate match.
Awesome. So before we jump into that, Hannah, you have another question for us for Majida?
Hey, Majida, I was wondering, so I know you said to keep it consistent, you press FN and F4. Sorry. FN and F4 as to be consistent, but those are shortcuts. What's the way to do it without the shortcut for people that are not going to remember that?
1 second.
Or can you just drag it down?
No, if you just drag it down without like this dollar signs coming up, it won't work. It'll just give you like it just won't work properly. I'm not sure what the long way is. Eric, do you by any chance know what it may be?
Yeah, I don't know on top of my head. I'll have to look that one up and let you know, Hannah.
No worry.
All right.
Okay, so moving on, we have 2 more things to do. Right, so we'll do an approximate match for this. So we want to find the tax rate. Okay, so we want to find the tax rate for using the table right over here. So we'll be using this table over here. We'll be finding the tax rate depending on people's salaries. So we'll be using salaries as a form of how do like what are, so for example, if you have 63,000 as your salary, so the VLOOKUP will look at the closest approximate number over here. So you know how over here I used false because I wanted an exact I used false. as the thing because I wanted an exact match of cafe mocha. But because now we're working with bigger numbers and we're doing so instead of having to put like 65,000 less than or what any of those, we'll just do approximate. So we'll do equals. Does anybody want to give it a shot before I do it? your face, I was like, no.
Anyone feeling brave? I mean, you have Majida and myself and Amna here to help coach you as well if you want to give it a go. If not, Majida can walk us through it. But I know there's a few of you out there that are itching to give it a try.
There's no judgment here. You guys, time as you need, you guys could do it.
Going once, going twice. All right, Majida. I think they just like hearing you explain it so much.
All right. So
I agree. I'm like learning a lot from you.
I hope so.
I am. Trust me, you're doing fine. Okay, don't doubt yourself. Keep going.
Okay. So what is it that we will be looking for? We'll be looking for the salary. We do comma. So remember the look what C2 is what is it that we're looking for? So we're looking for the salary, and then we'll be using the table over here. So now we select it. Now we're telling VLOOKUP to simply look into this table, and then depending on the percentage rates, it'll automatically do it. And then remember, you know how I was telling you guys the column numbers go from left to right? In this case, I would assume that some people would be like column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And they would end up putting column 8 as the number there. But that's wrong. Only because what you have selected are 2 columns. So once you select those 2 columns, from those 2 columns, you count from left to right. You don't start from here because this is not the column we've selected. We selected these 2, and now from here, this is column 1, and this is column 2. And here you'll be specifying, because we're looking for tax rates, right? The tax rates are these percentages over here. Now we'll be saying column 2. And then comma, we want approximate match because these are just approximate salaries that people might have. So simply for $63,000, I'm just using approximates. What VLOOKUP will do, see that 63 falls above 55,000, but below 63,000. So it'll use the percentage rate for 3%. So if you do true, true, press enter, it gives you 3%. And then, so because I don't want to sit here now, I don't want to drag all of this all the way down or continuously add in different rates, I am going to tell VLOOKUP that for this whole entire row, this whole entire data, you're going to continue to use this database right over here. I'm not sure, Hannah, what the long way is. If I find out, I'll reach back to you. FN and then F4. No.
It's cool, Majida. I already put it in my notes. FN and
Now
F4.
it tells
That's what I'm
it to stay consistent. Oh, okay. And then you press enter. So now, so let me Control Z that for a second. I didn't tell it to stay. I did not instruct it to stay consistent. It's without the dollar signs right now. If I were to do that, it gives me NAs. That's the problem. So after a while, it doesn't use the table over here or anything. So let's Control Z it. Select it again, FN and F4. And then press enter. And now, voila. So for example, $63,000, it knows that it's more than 55, but less than 65. So it automatically used the percent rate for 3%. Are you guys with me right now? Did I lose anybody?
Looks like we have a couple of questions.
I cannot hear anybody. I think I put you guys on mute.
Whoops. So to Christian's
Oh,
question.
I put you guys on, wait, I put you guys on mute. What were you guys saying? Sorry.
Oh, no, we were just saying what a great instructor you are, Majida.
Okay.
The question was, Christian has, do you know what the consistent is on a Mac, the shortcut? If you probably Google that, right? But Christian, for those of you who are on a Mac and someone put in the chat box what that is. And Ashley Gavin is asking, can you do the exact same thing you just did again, Majida? Can you show that last bit?
Like in regards to making the thing consistent or all over again? Do you want me to do that?
No, just this part. Yeah, just this part. So you made you put in your formula. Now you instead of trying to do it one by one all the way down, how do you do it all at once?
So I'll actually double click. So this is without the table being consistent. So let's just change it while everything is there. We select it, FN. You'll see it on your keyboards. At first, I'm like, where is that on Excel? I was looking for it. I didn't find it. I'm like, oh, it's on my keyboard. So I'll tell you guys, it's on your keyboard. And then you look for F4 and then press enter. And then you can come back and double click again and it changes all the way. Better?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. It looks like Tiana has a hand up.
Yes, I wanted to know, where did you get that 2 from in the formula?
2. Okay, so this goes back to the column. Let me switch this, do this. So you see this 2 right over here? This 2 is coming from this. Do you see these two column G and H?
Mm-hmm.
So G is just a reference point for Excel to understand that whatever the salary rate is, it's like a estimated salary rate. And then over here is saying that 1%. So like, for example, if your salary is $5,000 or below $5,000, you get a 1% salary tax rate. Or if you're, for example, your salary is more than $5,000, but less than $25,000, your tax rate becomes 1.5%. So you simply tell VLOOKUP, hey, from the 2 columns that I have selected, I want you to go on to column 2. Column H is column 2.
Oh, okay.
So, understand?
Mm-hmm.
That's all it is.
Yeah, great explanation, Majida and Tiana. That, like I said earlier, that was very confusing for me at first as well. This is not necessarily intuitive. Like they're asking what column, and you would naturally think you'd go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Oh, it's column, whatever it is, 8 or 9. But it's not that. It's column 2 because you're only selecting those two columns.
Okay, thanks.
So, yep, you're welcome. Awesome. Is there anything else before us, Majida? Is that the end of your lesson?
I have one more thing.
No problem. Let's go ahead and we'll jump in. We'll pick up where we left off tomorrow.
Okay. 1 second. I need to wait for that to go down. I think I'm overwhelming you guys with information. I don't want to do that today.
No, this is great. Thank you so much.
Okay, so now you have 2 sets of data. These are separate, like the E is there to separate the 2 data. You want to find out the salary you want to use a salary from here, but because your social, and these 2 data sets have 2 things in common, the social security number. So for this, say a data set, we'll be using the social security number as a reference point to make sure that we get all of our salaries are lined up here according to what the social security number that matches up here. So like, for example, if I'm trying to look for social security number 11204171, and I'm not about to scroll through all of this and like look for the social security for 1120. I already forgot what the fifth number was. I have to go back and remember that. So instead of doing that, we simply go here. We do equal sign. Do not forget the equal sign. We look up, tap. So we'll be saying G2. So we'll be telling it to go through G2. And then comma, A, so AC. A. So because we need to find the salary from this table data set, we'll be selecting everything from here. Oh, no. We'll just do this instead. And then comma, our salary is right over here. So column from the selected column data set that I've selected, which is set column A, B, and C. Now I'm going to count from left to right. 1, 2, 3. I need the my purpose of this collecting this data is for the salary, correct? So that's where I'll put the number 3. And then I want exact matches because I don't the social security and with the salary with each person's salary, I don't want it approximate because there are different people who get different salaries and whatnot. So I want this to be an exact match. So I'll put in false. Press enter. But there's a problem. So with such big sets of data, the problem is social security numbers, they always have dashes. For example, you actually have the dashes showing up here. But the problem with this one is you don't have dashes. Amna's gonna be so happy right now because consistency in formatting for VLOOKUP is key. So your formatting for social security over here has no dashes, while the format for social security over here has dashes. So that's one of the reasons why it's not working. So we simply click this, we do right click, we do format cells, and then special. So they're like specific codes. For example, if you're working with addresses, they have zip codes, so it automatically formats a very big amount of data to whatever you need. We want social security, and we press OK. So now we let me try that again. Special question. Okay. Let me continue with this. I'm not sure why it's not showing up there. So I pressed enter, and if I try it again, it still may give me problems. The reason is we have to go to column G. Sorry. So now we have to go to column G. We have to find and select and replace with nothing. Because these have dashes over here, right? You see the dash when let me close this first. You see it has dashes over here and it's giving us a problem. Like the numbers for this are formatted for Social Security, correct? But with this, it has dashes. To make the formatting consistent with both of these columns, we now have to select all of G, find and select. We go to replace. Now we're gonna replace with nothing. Like you do not do anything, you just press replace. And you close. It should work. I'm not sure why it's not working. This might be a problem on my end. I'm not sure why it's not working. Replace all.
Amna has her hand up. Amna, do you have a suggestion? I'm not really sure either.
No, I was saying I found the long way to find VLOOKUP. So if you want me, I could share it with you and you could show them.
Okay.
Like I could walk you through it.
Why don't we do that? We got 5 minutes left. Can you explain it in 5 minutes, Amna?
Like, yeah, it's not that hard. You just go to the formulas tab.
Well, how we do this? Do you have your screen open?
I do, but I have no data on it. It's just an
all right.
empty Excel.
No problem. Yep, go ahead.
So, Marcia, if you go to Formula tab, and then if you go to Lookups and References, if you click on that, like underneath it, where it shows all of them, if you scroll all the way down, you could see VLOOKUP, and then you could just use it from there. So that's like the long way to get it if you don't want to use all the steps. So yeah, and you know how to fill out the information better than I do. So
Yeah, and that's actually my preferred way of doing it. The other way you can do it is click on the little FX next to the taskbar at the top. So you see like where it says function library, underneath that, the FX symbol, down. Yep, right next to right there. You got it. Yep, click on that. And then, yep, there it is. You can do it that way as well.
I didn't know that way.
Yep. So there's a lot of, and this is my preferred way of doing it too, as opposed to writing it out. So I just find when you write it out, you forget the comma, you forget the parenthesis, you forget the quotation, and the whole entire thing goes to goes south. So that is my preferred way. So we have 4 minutes left. So why don't we go ahead, Maj, you can stop sharing your screen. Oh yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to say, I'm not sure why the last one didn't work. It should have worked. So I'll find out why that didn't work. But yeah, that's it.
Yeah, we'll pick up where we left off tomorrow for sure. We really appreciate you and your willingness to step up. I think it takes a lot of courage for someone to share a seminar on how to do such a technical and complex thing. So I won't be here on Friday. I'm actually going to an appointment, but I do encourage you, every single one of you, to take some notes and give Majida some feedback, our Friday feedback, whether that's in the person or whether you want to shoot her an email, because that is very helpful. So thank you, Majida. We really appreciate you and your willingness to step up and help out our class in that way. Majida should receive an extra $100 from her stipend coming straight from Manny himself. He'll write the check. Thanks, Manny. We appreciate you. Happy holidays. So with that being said, just real quickly, tomorrow we'll put this into more practice. We'll go into the driver's seat. We'll do VLOOKUP in real time. I did upload a practice sheet on Schoology. So if you want to go in and practice on your own, I do encourage you to do that now. As I shared yesterday, everything that we're talking about, myself, Majida, Amna, whoever else is presenting, this is all things that are on the video. All right. So if you have the LinkedIn Learning, it's all there. So when you come into class, it shouldn't feel like, oh my gosh, what's a VLOOKUP? I'm so confused. It should be like, no, I've seen this once, now I'm seeing it twice, right? So I just want to encourage you to make sure that you watch the videos before class. And that way when you come in, it's not a totally brand new like concept, because what Majida did, let's just be honest, was very complex. It's not just like, sum of 2 cells. Like that's pretty basic. We're now getting into advanced Excel, hence the name of the course. So I do encourage you to watch the videos. That is really helpful. There's actually a guy, let me just really quickly share his page. He works for Microsoft. He has a YouTube channel. And to be totally transparent, I think he has like really super helpful videos, and they're very short, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, So LinkedIn Learning, I think, is your first source. I think this person, his name's Kevin Stratford. He has very helpful videos. I would subscribe to his channel if you haven't. And then of course our class time as well. With that being said, if you did not do the discussion board last night, please make sure you get that done. Respond to 2 posts by tomorrow night. If you haven't submitted your worksheet for yesterday, please make sure you do that. That I think is due tomorrow night, as is the one that's posted today. We'll work on that one in class tomorrow. But as always, really appreciate each and every one of you. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Please stay safe in the snow. Have fun playing in it. If you decide to do that, do not drive unless you have to. And have a great day.
Thank you, Eric. I have a question.
Yep.
So my Schoology is down.
Oh,
and it was down also for me last night. So I'm not able to.
Oh, weird. Is there anybody else having that problem today with Schoology or no?
Yeah, me too. I'm having a little problems with.
Yeah, same with me as well. I've been having problems.
Thank you for letting me know. I'll be sure to let the academic team know on our Slack channel that Schoology is acting up, and that'll help give some grace and leeway for the deliverables.
Okay, thank you, Eric.
Yeah, thanks for letting me know, Ashley.
Oh, by the way, Eric, good question. Is it gonna be Friday feedback? Because I don't know, because people be saying that our break starts on Monday. People say that break starts on the 18th. I'm kind of confused about that.
According to my calendar, there still is Friday feedback, but I'll circle back with the program managers and and confirm. But the last I heard, there is Friday feedback, but that might have changed. I was under the impression there was.
There is Friday feedback. That's the last day that we have program. So technically it starts after we're done with class.
Yeah, because I don't think there's developing you. There's not that. There's no guest speaker. So on my calendar, you have Friday feedback, and that's over at 10:30, and then 11:30 rather, and that's it for the day.
All right. Thank you, Eric. But imagine you did a great job.
She did.
Thank you, guys. I really hope you guys learned something.
We learned many things, not just something. You did awesome.
Thank you.
Check to that.
Yeah. Eric, are you there?
I'm here.
Yes. Do you have any updates on the stipend situation?
That would be a question for Malik. He's the one who handles the stipends.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
In regards to that, Ashley, I think he sent an email this morning about it. I don't know if you've received it.
Yeah, I got it. All right. Thanks, Julissa, for pointing that out for me.
Is someone snoring?
Yeah, that's my husband. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, it's okay. I'm like, if I hear someone snoring, that's just like me.
We're not going
Okay,
crazy.
I just thought, like, wow, what does that sound? I didn't know you were married, Ashley. That's so cool. Okay.
Yeah. Thanks,
Awesome.
Eric. I'll see
You're
you
welcome.
tomorrow.
I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good rest of the day. Any other questions, guys, before we close up the call?
Yes. I had one question for percentage, how we find a percentage on Excel.
How you find a percentage?
Yeah, for what we were supposed to do yesterday.
Sure. Let me, oh yeah, are you sharing your screen? Okay, cool. Yeah, so on my screen, it's, on mine rather, it's under home and there should be a percentage button. Do you have that button or no?
Yeah.
Yeah, right there it is in the middle under general.
Yeah. So it's asking for what is it? Using a formula, find the percentage. I know that we used the formula first mod, I believe, when we went over Excel, but I can't quite remember what the formula.
Well, the formula is just dividing. It's just equals, total income, which is B5 divided by savings, which is B25. And then putting it into it. Yep. So how did you find the how did you find the percentage? But like how did you do the math on that?
Okay. So B5. You said divided
by savings, which is what you want to find out. Yep. You don't need a zero there.
Oh, I meant to put the.
I know Excel is like, it's so touchy. Like one little thing, like one little comma is off and everything goes south. There we go. So now you want to change that from $1 to his thing. So now you want to go, actually this is, you might have done it backwards. Is it B25 divided by B5?
Oh, B5.
Let me find my cheat sheet.
Yeah, I think it's B25 first.
Yeah, I'm doing it backwards. My apologies.
Thank you.
Terrible at math, as you'll learn about me during this this course.
Okay, got it.
Yep, there you go.
Thank you.
Easy peasy, right?
Yep. Thank you.
Eric, I have a question.
Yes, I'm a dual.
Still LinkedIn Learning. I can't seem to find the videos to watch.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead.
I'm gonna share. Share screen.
Please share your screen. And actually, it might even be easier for me to do this for you. Let me go ahead and find it.
I have the link if anything.
I was gonna say just like looking at the link might even be easier. Let me go ahead and. Here you go, Amadou.
That should be it.
Oh, me and Ricardo had a race. So click on that link and does the video populate?
Yeah, it does. But from there, like I just should keep watching, like going down that.
So what you want to do is you want to go go ahead and share your screen.
Sure.
We're talking about advanced formulas and functions. So go ahead and scroll down on the left.
Right here?
Yep, scroll down. Because I think, yeah, keep going down. There should be more, like, I think we're on chapter 3.
It doesn't let me go down, like.
That's so weird. Oh, maybe that's so strange.
That's why I'm not used to this interface, you know.
Click on. Can you give me control of your screen?
Remote control, right? Okay.
Do you know how to do that?
And then Eric, yeah.
All right.
Oh, it's asking me for access.
Yeah, you have to like.
Yeah, it's not letting me, Eric.
It's not let. All right, let me go ahead and share my screen, and I'll show you what mine looks like, and you can tell me if you're able to follow it. That's really strange. So here's my screen, and you see how I have formulas and functions and shortcuts. I have if and related functions. I have lookup and reference functions. Do you have any of those?
I see that.
But do you see that on your screen or none of those?
I'll check it right now again.
So you click that little arrow, it should you should have all these different things to work with.
Yeah, I see the arrows. It has like a 1, 2, 3, right?
The different chapters, yeah.
Yeah.
So videos 1 through 4 under, advanced.
Yeah, so how would I know like I finished one chapter already?
What do you mean?
Because it doesn't let me scroll down like you saw.
Yeah, I don't know why that's happening.
Yeah.
Are you sure it's not your browser maybe? Because you should have access to all the courses, all of them that we're looking at here.
I'm using Safari. I'm
should
using
have
Mac, so.
Yeah, you should have formulas and function tips and shortcuts, if and related functions, lookup and reference functions, and power functions. You don't have any of those?
I have it when I do the drop down like you showed.
Okay.
But like after, like let's say I'm doing the introduction, when it finishes, like it doesn't tell me like it's done, you know?
There's not a green checkbox next to it. The green check means you're done.
I think he means like, do you mean like in Pluralsight when we are notified that we finished the chapter?
Yeah, like one chapter. So then like, so then you can move on to the next one.
I don't think it stops you from moving on to the next one. You could just go on to the next chapter pretty much.
Yeah, you can. This is sort of like you can watch whatever videos you want to watch. There isn't like a sequence you need to follow.
Yeah, I think it's the browser problem. It's basically not letting me scroll down to watch all the videos.
Okay,
but I can watch from like the chapters, yeah.
So why don't you maybe try like to download like Google Chrome or something and see if that works, and then if not, just send me an email and we'll get you sorted out.
All right, I'll try that.
Okay.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you, Ricardo.
Yep.
Yep.
All right, guys. Any other questions? All right. Well, have a good rest of the afternoon. I'll see you tomorrow in class. Take care.